Hello and welcome, this is Skinner, and we're back with some more BattleTech and my continued look at the backer beta build and the single player skirmish mode that is currently the only mode available. I'll be doing another gimmick build, and in the last couple of videos I have covered builds that revolve around weapon systems. So far we've covered PPCs and autocannons. This time around we'll be focusing on lasers. So all the mechs that I've chosen have a very heavy laser loadout. And the most obvious one to include in this is the swayback version of the Hunchback. And the reason it's called a swayback is because it removes the AC-20. That is the normal loadout. So we have an AC-20 in the right torso, removes that and replaces it. And we're going to have to go quite a ways up to find the other variant. Replaces it with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 medium lasers on top of the already existing 2 medium lasers. So that's 8 medium lasers, and then we also have a small laser that the standard loadout would have. So that's a lot of lasers, and that is all the firepower is on this mech. And interestingly enough, all of the mechs I've chosen are actually variants of the standard version of the mech. So we have the Centurion, which swaps out the AC-10 for a large laser. There aren't that many mechs in the game right now that have large lasers. Off the top of my head, I think there's 3, and I have 2 of them included in this build. There might be another one somewhere that I'm forgetting, but there really aren't that many, and that's the reason why I included the Centurion and the Griffin in this build, because exactly that reason. There aren't that many that have large lasers, and I want to showcase all of the different laser types. And with the Centurion, we do have all of the laser types. We have a large laser replacing that AC-10. We also have a small laser, and we have 2 standard medium lasers. There is an LRM-10, though, in this mech, so we do have firepower that isn't just lasers. It is very tough to find mechs outside the Hunchback that are entirely energy weapon focused. Most of them are going to have at least one other weapon system on them, and an example of that is the Quickdraw. This is the variant of the Quickdraw where we remove the LRM-10, and instead we replace it with more medium lasers. So let's count up all the medium lasers. We do have an SRM-4, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 medium lasers that I count. And then we also have jump jets with this mech. And then finally we have the Griffin, which again is a variant. The normal variant is going to have a PPC and an LRM-10. We saw that in the PPC build. This variant is going to swap out the PPC and downgrade the LRM to an LRM-5. So the end result of that is we have a large laser and 2 medium lasers, and then just an LRM-5 for our firepower. This mech also has jump jets. And for the pilots I chose, I have Paradise and our Hunchback. I'm going to try and tank with the Hunchback, but I'm also going to keep the Hunchback moving. I have noticed a trend where I tank with the Hunchback because the Hunchback has pretty good armor, but the enemy has a habit of running past me and getting in behind me. I don't want that to happen, so I'm going to be moving around a lot with this mech to try and prevent that. It might still happen, but that's the idea. We also have, with both the Centurion and the Quickdraw, I have put Buckshot and Ozone. This is more, especially in the Quickdraw, for the Guts ability, which is going to allow us to do more with our heat. Being so energy weapon heavy, we are going to have to deal with heat. I could see you swapping Buckshot over to the Hunchback rather than to the Centurion, because of all the medium lasers you have. But for now, this is the build I'm going to do. But the upside of also having Buckshot and Ozone is that we get the Bulwark trait. So if we stay still, we get the guarded stat, or what is status. And then finally, with the Griffin, we have Blockade. And this is purely to aid in those jump jets a little bit, as that's what the Angel of Death will do. There are some other mechs that I have not put in this loadout that you could swap in. For example, another mech that would be a good case for a very energy weapon or laser heavy loadout would be the Jenner, as it does have 4 medium lasers. It does have an SRM-4, but that is most of its firepower, is those medium lasers. Another good example on the high end would be a Battlemaster, which has 6 medium lasers. Again, it has other firepower, but a lot of medium lasers, so it does kind of fit the bill. But for now, this is the loadout we're going to try. We're going to be using a random opponent. Hopefully it's not the exact same opponent we've fought like 3 times in a row now. And the map we'll be using is the stacks. And I think it's just been a little while since we've used that one. Maybe I'm wrong, but let's go ahead.
Commencing deployment. Mech warriors, prepare for combat.
Lasers are a little bit more straightforward than autocannons are, in that the smaller they are, the shorter their range is, and the smaller their damage is. And as you get into larger size lasers, the damage goes up, the range goes up. That's more or less the opposite of the autocannon, so it's a little bit easier to understand. The downside of having a very laser-heavy mech is all the heat you're going to build up. Lasers are very efficient from a tonnage standpoint when you're building a mech, but not very good on the heat efficiency side of things.
What are those? Trees?
So some of these mechs, maybe not the most user-friendly for a newer pilot that is struggling with contending with all of the heat buildup.
Ready to rock.
But otherwise, a pretty straightforward weapon system. Now, the one thing about our mechs is the large laser is going to be really the only range potential that we have, longer range potential that we have outside of, at least with our lasers. And as a result, we're going to be a little bit weaker on that range standpoint. Most of our damage is going to be dealt up close, which is another advantage of taking ozone and buckshot in here, because we will be mixing it up. At least in theory. I'll go ahead and stick the Centurion. This does not count. Alright, I should point this out real quick. This does not count as being in the forest. Notice that it says road. This says forest. I want to just confirm, because we see here, green dot. Let's move there. This is something I think the developers have pointed out, that there are some issues with some of the spots that are marked as cover. Let's see if we got cover. We did not get cover. So that showcases right there that sometimes the green dots don't really tell the truth.
Yep.
Okay, the Griffin, I'm going to stick in over here. We could always run over into the water if we need to cool down. I'm actually half tempted to do that. That is kind of taking advantage of the situation, though. And have you sprint over here. Now that for sure will be in the woods. It'll be important to keep our Hunchback in cover, as unlike our Centurion and our Quickdraw, we'll not be able to, well, as easily get that guarded trait. I could do it, but I wouldn't be able to fire at the same time, and that's the important distinction. Alright, we have enemy contact right away, because this map is fairly small.
Oh, looky. We got more company.
Now, I don't have sensor lock with this build, but I didn't consider it to be all that important, because most of our firepower is going to be up close. So we should have established sight lines. Okay, that Jenner has just committed suicide. Now, I say that, but it's got cover and evasive going, and we've kind of seen so far, at least this is an assumption of mine, that the AI seemingly has a little bit of an advantage when it comes to that kind of thing. Alright, I think I'm going to move my Centurion now. And the reason I'm going to move the Centurion now is because it's out in the open. So if we don't move and we just attack, we'll get that guarded trait. This does mean that we'll be attacking into a mech that is going to be dodging a lot of our firepower. And we don't really have a great chance to hit anyway at 55%. We're going to go ahead and fire this stuff off anyway. Maybe we'll hit with something. Or not. So depending on what their loadout is, we've seen a Jenner. And that could mean it's the same loadout we've fought several times now. Okay, I don't feel like I really need to move our Quickdraw yet. I'm not sorry, our Quickdraw. our hunchback or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and just reserve right now. Most of our mechs have both evasive and cover, so they have some element of defense.
An intelligent man understands the need for patience.
Okay, that makes me start to think that this may be the same loadout we faced every time now. I'm almost starting to wonder if the random feature is broken on this cost bracket, because I will bet you money that this is the same loadout we fought. This is the 4th time in a row we fought this loadout. So this is going to be a Jenner, a Kintaro, I forget what the other medium mech is, and a Victor. So we'll see here in a second if I'm right, but the LRMs that we just got fired at us was the Kintaro, and we've already seen this multiple times. The AI doesn't know how to use a Kintaro properly, so that guy, we won't see him for the entire match until we've killed all of his teammates. Alright, so from what I can tell, I don't think I'll be able to shoot at the Jenner if I stay still. So our Quickdraw is in a little bit of danger of being attacked here. We can go into reverse and back off here and then just open up on the Jenner. We've seen that the Jenner is going to be dodging a lot of the stuff that we're shooting at it. Our Quickdraw is not really the ideal mech to be tanking here, in my opinion, so we should probably back it off. I would have preferred to get the bulwark trait, and that's the reason why I gave this mech Ozone too, because I wanted to try and reduce the damage as much as I possibly could that are going to be coming in on our Quickdraw. Alright, we're going to go ahead and fire off a bunch of our stuff. This is going to build up a huge amount of heat, and I don't know if it's really worth it against a mech like the Jenner that's going to be dodging most of what we're shooting at it. So I would rather just have a little bit of heat build up and not fire all of our stuff at it.
I got you.
Please hit with something. Hey, we hit it maybe twice. And then it dodged everything else. I mean, our chance to hit here is not spectacular, so I guess I won't be too surprised. So we want to keep our hunchback moving, and that way we are going to keep doing the evasive. So we'll move up here, and we'll fire, and we also get cover, which is important. That's going to reduce damage even more. And we're wanting our hunchback to tank more, so that's fine as well. I don't think we're going to open up with everything here either, so I'm going to turn off some of the medium lasers, let's say 3 of them, so we're not going to have any heat buildup whatsoever, so that next turn, when we have a better opportunity to shoot, we'll fire off everything. Let's go ahead and fire this stuff. Okay, it looks like we maybe got 3 hits there. This is still going to be painful to a Jenner who does not have good armor. Okay, so blockade, I'm not exactly sure what to do with. Let's spread out our mechs a little bit. We'll do something like that. Our LRM-5 won't really be all that accurate at this range, but that's okay. We'll turn it off. And we'll just fire everything else. This isn't that much heat buildup. The Griffin and the Centurion shouldn't be too bad.
Taking the shot.
And it looks like we missed with everything. So that's fantastic. Now, if we had sensor lock, that mech would be dead this turn. Boom, dead. But we didn't have sensor lock, so that's kind of the liability. We have that first turn. Oh, you just stood still? You are dead as hell. Okay, so who do we want to kill this guy with? We could use... Really, any of these mechs would be viable. I'm tempted to use Blockade here. I don't necessarily think that Blockade has the best firepower of the group. We could go into the water and take advantage of the heat reduction, although I guess I can't quite get there. So maybe we save that for another time. And we'll kind of move over this way. Now, if we did this with the Hunchback, we'd probably for sure get a kill. Let's turn this way. I'm trying to get a little bit of distance here so that maybe we can use our LRMs more effectively. No, not quite. But look at our chance to hit. Now at 90%. And it doesn't have evasive. He's going to still have the cover, but no evasive. So let's go ahead and fire. Okay, we're already through the center torso armor. That doesn't mean that their Kintaro is going to be able to shoot at me with its LRM-5. Okay, it is a quick draw. I thought it might be a quick draw. We're going to be dodging most of that firepower and reducing what does hit. Okay, so Jenner's still up. I'm not actually sure which is the better target at this stage. Okay, I'm gonna assume the... Yeah, alright, we'll go for the Jenner here. So we're gonna fire everything we've got, except for the LRM-10, which is not gonna be accurate. Fire away. Now, I didn't expect to kill that mech because of the side shot. We could have gone for a rear shot, but I wanted to have that cover bonus. Okay, here comes the Kintaro LRM-5s. No, we didn't manage to dodge any of that. Kind of a bummer. Okay, so I honestly want to go after the quick draw here rather than the Jenner with our Hunchback. So I'm going to go ahead and just ignore the Jenner for now. And we'll get up nice and close and personal. And we're going to be unloading on this guy. We'll be moving so we get that evasive so we can dodge some of this stuff. And as I said, we'll open up everything on this guy. 90% chance to hit. That's going to hurt. Okay. Now it's Ozone's turn. And Ozone does have the ability, if I stay still, to take some benefit here. We're going to try and go for the kill here. So I am going to fire with everything I have, even though it is going to have a lot of heat buildup. This should kill the Jenner unless we're extremely unlucky. All right. Took us an extra turn to kill the Jenner, but we're all right. And our mechs are in pretty good defensive positions, so... All right, so I think the obvious move here is to try and take out the quick draw if we can before it gets a chance to move. It will move as soon as I move, so I'm going to try for that. Now, if I go to this move, and I might have my back taken, which I wouldn't like very much. But I'm going to try and move into the water because we're going to need that cool off eventually here. Okay, there we go. I am going to turn off the small laser, as it is not within a good range to fire. We are going to have enough heat buildup that's going to cause us some problems, but I'm going to go ahead and take that, and we'll fire everything we've got here.
He's going down.
All right, we got a little bit unlucky with a miss there. I'm actually surprised the quick draw took that kind of damage. Okay, so as I thought, it's going to take my back here. Oh, no, you're not going to take my back. Interesting. Probably couldn't with how far it moved.
Come on, send me a real mech warrior.
What was that? Big explosion. Interesting. Okay. Well, I think we're going to move with blockade. We're going to move away from the quick draw, but we're going to continue to fire at the quick draw. I'm trying to get it so that my Griffin is not the obvious target, but it's possible that this Victor will come after me. Go ahead and fire.
Firing.
I suspect we'll be able to take the Quickdraw out this turn. Okay, managed to dodge that. Didn't take any damage. Perfect. Okay. We're still in a good position if we just stay still, so that's what we're going to do. Now, the reason I'm going after the Quickdraw and I'm not going after the Victor is because the Victor has evasive, so it would dodge some of this. So that's why we're going to ignore it. Go ahead and turn on our LRM-10, but I will turn off my medium lasers just to cool down a little bit this turn.
This might hurt.
Okay, we've eaten through that arm. Now it's our Quickdraw's turn. And I'm going to try... Well, we could stay still and make sure that we have a good defense, or we could try and get into the water because we are starting to really heat up here. So I think we're going to try for that, going for the water. We're not going to get it this turn, but next turn we will be able to do it. That does mean a couple turns where I don't have the guarded trait going in my favor. We could fire everything we have here, and we wouldn't overheat, so I honestly am going to do it because I'm hoping we'll kill the Quickdraw this turn. So let's fire everything we've got.
Locking off with all weapon systems.
Okay, we didn't get lucky there, but we did eat through pretty much all of its armor. Okay, here comes the Victor. He's going to fire at the Hunchback, which manages to dodge or at least have some of those heavier attacks miss. Okay, so we definitely want to try and take out the Quickdraw here, or at least, at the very least, reduce its firepower. And I think we're going to go ahead with the Centurion here. I think Paradise would have the best chance of killing him, but I want to try and take him out now. So, well, actually, I can move into the water. See, that's the problem. I can move into the water, but I can't turn around enough to be able to do anything. So, what if we reverse? Yeah, see, that's the reason why. We're just too heated up with our Hunchback. I want to be able to retreat into this water, but we just don't have the distance. So that is why we're not going to be using Paradise. Instead, we're going to use our Centurion, but we have to take out this Quickdraw if we do this. So I am going to even allow myself to heat up a little bit more by using the medium lasers. They don't have a very good chance to hit, but I think it's important we fire here. And at the very least, we'll take out one of these arms. We are firing from the side, so I'm hoping we'll take out the arm and some of the firepower of this mech. Also, actually, the side torso would be the best thing to hit. Let's go ahead and fire this stuff off.
Okay.
Come on, lucky hits here. Okay, so we managed to blow up the arm. Unfortunately, we didn't get anything beyond that, so it looks like this Quickdraw is going to be able... Oh, he's just going to stand there and trade with me. Okay. Interesting. Alright, so at this point, I'm going to keep moving with Blockade. And we're going to take another shot at this Quickdraw. We should be an ultra-easy target to this point. I'm also trying to get distance so that the Victor doesn't come after my Griffin. Okay, we are going to turn the LRM on, and we're going to fire everything we've got here. I'm really hoping for a kill here. Which we didn't get. That's unfortunate. Okay, they're taking more shots at Paradise. Managed to dodge some of that, so that's good.
Clearly, we're dealing with amateurs.
Sure appears that way. Okay, so I'm going to move... If I do a punch, does it allow me to move? No, it doesn't look like it. And I don't want to give the Victor my back, so let's not do that. I want to get in this water, and I also want to be able to engage other mechs here, so... But I also like the idea of being in cover. If I move here, I might be able to move into the water next turn and fire, but there's no guarantee of that. Although a reverse action might do the job. Okay. Turn like that. We're going to have to be very careful with our movement.
Consider it done.
Okay. Now, I could have shot into this guy's back. I don't think we're going to get that many shots here. So, not sure how great of an idea this was. We're going to turn off as many of our medium lasers as is required to cool ourselves down a little bit. Which, honestly, with as many heat sinks as this mech has, is not bad. We still are firing with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 medium lasers. That should be pretty good. Come on, give us a kill. Nah, not quite.
You're no match for me.
These quick draws have been giving us a lot of difficulty as far as getting the kill is concerned.
Confirmed.
Alright, so ozone, we're going to move into the water. And then we're going to, next turn, we're going to sit there and use our bulwark. Okay, right there.
Copy that.
So we are going to be vulnerable for this next turn with the quick draw, which is not ideal. That would probably eat an AC-20 shot, which may be devastating to us. Okay. Well, firing everything we've got is actually going to cool us down, so I see no reason why not to. Unless I'm mistaken. Yeah, see, that would cool us down. So we're going to go ahead and fire everything we've got here.
Through volume of 5.
And there we go. Easy kill. Especially as we could get a called shot there. So a lot of wasted firepower, but all well. Okay, AC-20 misses again. Perfect.
Just stop. You're embarrassing yourself.
Is indeed embarrassing himself. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to move Paradise first. I'm not going to be using the Inspire. I see that it's there. We're going to move into the water, turn around, and fire at this Victor. And now that we're in the water, we should be able to fire a lot more of our weapons without having to deal with heat issues. We're turning on the small laser, but it's not in range. 90% to hit with everything we've got. Let's go ahead and fire. There's going to be a lot of damage coming the Victor's way. Granted, some of it is being reduced. Oh no, not more LRM-5s. The horror.
Wow, their targeting skills are not impressive.
No, they're not. Okay. Let's go with our Centurion here.
Look, no.
I'm going to Inspire.
Huzzah!
And we're going to fire pretty much everything we've got here. We will overheat, but we won't shut down. That's fine. For this turn that we use the Inspire, might as well use everything we've got. Alright, we've already done pretty good damage to that one arm.
Affecting my performance.
Aye, aye.
Okay, Blockade. We're going to continue to move with Blockade, purely just to try and avoid getting shot. I am also going to stay to cover.
Got it.
Not a huge amount of distance we covered there, but oh well. I'm going to turn off one of the medium lasers, and we'll fire everything else.
Yup.
Okay, now it's Ozone's turn. Try and get in a little bit closer. And we'll go ahead and fire everything we've got because it doesn't really heat us up while we're in the water. Okay, we had a number of misses there, unfortunately. But we're really starting to peck away at the armor of the Victor. Another miss with that AC-20. They really need to learn to stop going after our tank. Okay. Well, I think we just go again with Buckshot here. I'm going to have to turn off some of these weapon systems, though, so that we don't shut down. No, we're still going to shut down, huh? Well, this is a laser build, so we're going to turn off the LRM-10, even though I would personally fire that instead of the large laser, and we'll fire.
I'm melting in here.
Oh no, not the LRM-5s. Stop it, Kintaro. You're hurting me here. Okay. Paradise. Personally, Paradise is at the perfect range to be at for the weapons that he's firing. What I might do is just step up into the woods here. Get ourselves a little bit more defense.
Moving out.
Now this does expose me to more heat, but our mech should be able to handle it and not overheat at this stage. So let's go ahead and fire everything we've got. Some bad misses there, but managed to blow off his left arm, which is going to remove both of his medium lasers. So all he's got is an SRM-4 and an AC-20. Okay, blockade. We're going to move kind of back where you were, maybe over this way. I mean, there's not that many places where we've actually got a direct line of sight here. May have to turn off some of the weapons I'm going to be firing, like maybe this medium laser. We'll do the LRM-5 and the large laser.
Copy that.
Okay, our quick draw is going to have a chance here to fire.
Ready to rock.
And we're just going to stay still, so we've got the bulwark trait going. Unfortunately, our hunchback is actually blocking a little bit of our view, so this isn't going to be the... Well, this is probably the same chance we had before. We'll go ahead and fire everything. Hopefully we get some good hits here. Looks like we had a lot of misses. That's unfortunate. We did knock the guy down, although I don't think that's going to matter in the grand scheme of things because he's going to get right back up. Let's see what the guy does after this turn, because it will be his turn. But this is yet another pretty easy fight here, and it's purely because one of their best in-close fighters is not fighting me. Ah, see, I knew it was a matter of time before that happened. Which is why I was trying to keep the Griffin moving. All right, let's start this off with our Centurion, who still needs to cool down. Let's see 2 medium lasers. That would probably be a better way of cooling off.
Engaging.
Okay, we've eaten through a ton of this guy's armor. All right, that's fine. Now, Paradise here. We're going to move back into the water to contend with the heat.
It will be done.
If we can take the Victor out, that means that the Kintaro will have to come after us.
Firing.
A lot of damage, unfortunately not focused in the spots that are going to take this guy out.
Standing by.
Okay, we're going to move around. We could just jump jet away. And you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm just going to jump jet away, and we'll create a lot of distance here.
Here we go.
And jumping into the water, hopefully, will kill off some of the heat for the jump. And then we'll hit him with the large laser and the LRM-5 because that's all we can hit him with.
Attacking from position.
We keep hitting those legs rather than the spots we should be hitting. Okay, now it's Ozone's turn. And we'll just go ahead and attack yet again. With everything we've got, why not? Come on, give me a kill here. I think we've destroyed all of his weapons at this point, so more than likely he's going to come in and punch somebody. Or he's just going to do that. Oh, no, he does have the AC-20 still. Fortunately for us, he missed. We would have reduced that by half if he had hit us, but... Alright, now we want to kill this guy, and we want to kill him this turn. So,
How might I
Let's switch over to Paradise, because I think Paradise has the best chance to kill him, because we're going to be firing all these medium lasers at him. Because if we can kill him, that will draw out the Kintaro this turn. We won't have to wait for him. There we go. Perfect. So the Kintaro should come out now, and we'll be able to use the rest of our mechs to attack him. And he may have to sprint to get line of sight on us. Oh no, he didn't. So here comes the firepower, and we are going to reduce this by half, and a lot of it missed because of the range. Still a lot of damage. But our Centurion has been more or less untouched at this point. Okay, blockade. He's just going to walk over this way. And fire at the Kintaro from range. Use this opportunity to cool off. Kintaro's still going to be a tough opponent because of the amount of damage it can dish out.
Right here.
Alright, we're advantage in just staying put, more or less. Let's turn off our medium lasers, use our LRM-10 and our large laser. We could inspire at this point, but I honestly don't think this is the best time to do that. We'll wait until it matters a little bit more. Now, ozone we have been steadily reducing the heat of. So we could go in for an attack. I would prefer not to do that with a Quickdraw, because Quickdraws do not have the best armor. But at this range, we won't be able to touch him, I don't think. No. So we're better off moving. And if we're going to move, we might as well move up close here. Now, the downside is the Kintaro might be able to get my back and might be able to kill a Quickdraw in one turn. So we've got to do heavy damage here this turn, which honestly, I don't know if we have the heat capacity to do. Yeah, we can fire everything this turn. Fortunately, we missed with some of that. But we did manage to take out one of his SRM-6s, which is actually really good. Okay. He's going to go first, but then we're going to be able to follow up. Okay, he just went ahead and guarded to try and steady himself. Okay, so Paradise is actually in a perfect spot here to try and take this guy out. Reason being is we can inspire him, which is going to remove the guarded. And he's got enough heat. I mean, we've cooled him off enough, so we should be able to do a good attack here. And we're just going to open up on this guy, have 95% chance to hit with everything. This is still a Kintaro, though, so it's going to be able to weather some of that damage. Okay, Buckshot's going to do what she's been doing, is just sit there and trade fire at range. We could dump the medium lasers at this point. Let's do just one. Alright. I'll hold it. I'll hold it for a more crucial turn. Reason being is we have reduced damage this turn, so we don't want to overheat ourselves in a turn that we're not going to be all that effective. We're fine if we stay where we are, but I do want a little bit of movement going on here. As a matter of fact, I would prefer to be in cover if I can, so... where should we go? I just don't want the Griffin to get hit here, to be honest with you, so... you know what? We're just going to fire where we are. Which, at this point, I might as well fire the medium lasers because we have really good heat dissipation in the water.
Roger.
Okay, unfortunately, we missed with the real damage that we wanted to hit with. We blew off his arm, which is going to really handicap him. So now, I think we've got this more or less in the bag. I'm going to back off, get in the water. Fortunately, we are in range of the weapons now. And we'll fire everything we have because we know we can. Chances are not great to hit here, but There's still going to be damage that is unanswered, more or less.
Critical hit.
So, I think at this point, I'm going to stop using the random opponent because it seems like every time I use a random opponent, it just gives me the same opponent. So, from here on out, we'll be just picking the opponent ourselves. I know that takes away an element of surprise, but when it's the exact same opponent every time, what surprise is there?
You have orders?
Alright, well, I'm going to get a little bit closer with our hunchback.
Certainly.
If it comes down to it, I may punch him. We'll fire with everything we have here. This includes a small laser. This is going to overheat us a lot, but this might just kill him.
Yes, Commander.
Okay.
Commander, I'm going to overheat. Yes, Commander.
We're just going to unload on this guy this turn with everything we've got. Heat be damned.
Locking in target.
Objective complete.
And there we go. Very minimal damage to our mechs. I think the worst thing that happened was we got hit by that AC-20 one time. But I set up this build to be very defensive, and it worked appropriately. So we took that one AC-20 shot to our arm here, which ate through all the armor. Outside of that, though, I mean, look at this. We're almost perfectly pristine with most of our mechs. Hunchback, I mean, the Quickdraw has a little bit of reduced armor here. We've got a little bit of graying going on in some locations of the Hunchback. But the Hunchback was able to dodge a lot of the stuff that was coming in at it, which was fantastic. I think there was at least 2 AC-20 shots that missed, maybe even 3 that were aimed at the Hunchback. And really, we got our enemy to do exactly what we wanted them to do. We used the Hunchback as our tank, and most of the time they were firing at our tank, which is exactly what we want. So yeah, this worked out pretty good. I don't know if this is necessarily the best build in the world because it really lacks flexibility, except for the Griffin and the Centurion can kind of do long-range combat, but they're going to not be as good at it as a true support mech would be. So, yeah, you can trade at range. This is not really the idea behind this build. Most of this is trading close in, which is, you know, not really the most flexible build. I think it's something that the enemy could plan for and strategize for and give you problems if they have the right loadout themselves. Obviously, the AI has some deficiencies, especially with that Kintaro. It continuously uses the Kintaro badly, using that LRM-5 over the massive firepower it has in close. If that Kintaro was trading with us in the early stages of the match, we would have had a lot harder time, not only because we would have had a lot more damage coming our way, but they would have also had a good tank absorbing our damage in the Kintaro. So we would have had to pick our shots a little bit better. But in this case, we were able to just take out the Jenner, take out the Quickdraw, take out the Victor, then take out the Kintaro one after the other. And that is why we didn't take all that much damage. Well, in any case, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. This is Mouse Gunner, signing out.